Why did you go into the military? I guess that's a question for both of you.
My buddy joined, and I came home, and at the time, I was just a douchebag jock, dickhead, no respect for nothing.
I know that. Well.
And I told my dad, I'm going to join the Marine Corps just to see what he'd say. And he's like, yeah, right. So a week
now, was
later,
your family military or anything like that?
No.
All right.
My great-grandpa was in the Navy. But, yeah, a week later, I went to the recruiting office and told him I want to join, and then like a few days later, recruiter came in and talked to my parents, and I left.
Wow.
3 months after graduating. I gotta hit the record button on my camera. I forgot.
And what about you? Why'd you join the military?
It was all because I watched G.I. Joe.
Was it Top Gun?
That too.
All right.
Top Gun, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Ninja Turtles. Just wanted to fight.
You want to?
And welcome to Ride or Rot. This is the podcast where we talk about bikes, the culture, and everything in between. My name is Dougie Fresh, and to my left is...
Nick. What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. Today we got someone special. Somebody that's been a mentor for me since I started doing this as a gig. Mr. Rob Bluma.
What up, y'all?
Yeah, I'm really excited. We're down here for Bike Week. He's down here set up, and I brought it up to him, said, hey, we want to come up and hang out and talk, and he did, guys. I didn't have to bribe him. Didn't have to give him anything, so
he did give me a Shark Demon headlight for my bike.
Yeah.
You got to have you fly the flag.
I feel like he bribed us to come on the podcast.
I did too. I don't know.
I'm too old for that stuff, man.
Thank you, Rob, for coming, man.
Hey, my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
So, for the folks that are listening that don't know who you are, tell me who you are, what you do, man.
So, my name's Rob Bluma. I am the Chief Sales Officer for Custom Dynamics. I've been in the motorcycle world now for 33 years.
God, you're old.
I am old. I turned 54 today, man. Yeah.
Today?
Today.
Oh, happy birthday, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, man, I always tell people this was not a career day. I never thought in a million years that I would spend my entire career in the motorcycle industry. Started selling Harleys at 24 in Milwaukee. And it's been quite the ride since. So,
what's the biggest change that you've seen since you got in this industry?
Oh man, well, so back then, you were sort of scummy if you had a Harley. It was a whole different world. But that was right when the transition of doctors, lawyers, all that stuff. But it was very exclusive. If you had I was 24 on a bad boy Springer, and just none of my friends had Harleys. They couldn't afford it. They were riding sport bikes and blah, blah, blah. Tattoos were taboo. Oh, my God. My mom cried when I got my first tattoo. She was like, so now, and Harley was a lot smaller. You knew everybody down at Juneau. You could make that call, and it was a whole different world. Obviously, this is pre-internet, too.
Yeah.
So you weren't worried about, you knew everybody because the industry was small.
You had phones back then?
We did. The Motorola StarTAC. Actually, it's funny. I can remember when I got my first text, which was on a Nokia brick phone. That's we didn't have the Zach Morris phones. Those were out already. But, you had your pager, the black one. Not the clear one, not the cool one, but the black one. Yes, so that's how old I am.
Yeah, I had a pager.
So
me too.
He's old, too.
Yeah, so I remember when the internet came out, it was pretty cool. That's how old I am.
Dude, you know how long it took to download just a girl in a bathing suit?
Oh, dude.
Oh, I remember, taking a picture with your phone. What do you need that for?
Yeah. I remember that, too.
I was like 12, sitting in my buddy's parents' office, and we just sitting in there, and we were watching going, and you could see like the top of her head, and we're like,
oh my God,
it's almost there.
Instead of pausing your VHS tape.
Yeah.
He used to, didn't you go to Cinemax or whatever in the middle of the night and try to watch it when it was blurry?
Oh, you had to flip back and forth.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
You'd be like, I seen a titty.
Yeah, Skinemax. Oh, yeah. Dude, I remember before cable, there was Select TV.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
Wait, there was what?
It was called Select TV. It came on at like 7:30. That was cable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
No.
and again, growing up in the Midwest, I was in the generation where I laugh. You know, you talk about what's different, and I see these memes and shit of people that, oh, you're drinking out of the hose? Not only my hose, but any hose you'd find in the neighborhood. Yeah. And we get on our BMX bikes, and we're gone from 9 o'clock in the morning till basically whatever time you're supposed to be home and do it all over again.
Hitting every pile of grass in the gutter.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Those are my jumps back then.
Oh, yeah.
Until the neighbors started putting bricks in them.
Curbs. Oh, yeah. You know, doing endos on the back of bumpers. Yeah, you know, back when cars had bumpers. So
had bumpers.
Yeah.
We used to chase after the ice cream man until one day he turned on us. And there was like 6 of us on our bikes.
Son of a bitch.
No, dude, he turned around and he started revving it. His truck, and you could see like the whites of his eyes. He was pissed. And then he just, he was coming after us and we all scattered. And he chose me, of all people, to chase after. And I was like riding and riding. I got up on somebody's yard and ran up to the front door, threw my bike on their yard. I was like, boom, boom, boom. Like, help, he's trying to kill me. And he was just like sitting out there on the sidewalk, revving his truck, just looking at me, dude. And I was just like, I am never chasing after the ice cream man ever again.
It was a dude from Friday who was slinging dope out of it.
Oh, yeah, it probably was.
Big worm.
Big worm, yes.
Big worm.
Yes.
Big perm.
So it's funny, you guys just had me think about, so when I started, I didn't get it. And what I mean by that is I was coming off a GSXR, I think 1100, FCR 1000, something like that. You know, vanilla ice, blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget. So I started at Suburban Harley. I had my choice of dealerships. It was Hal's Harley, which is now defunct, or Suburban Harley. And my neighbor worked for Harley. And I'm like, where should I go? He's like, what are you going to do? Sell bikes. You couldn't sell new bikes at that time. It was 2 to 3 years. Yeah. I don't care if you want an 883 or you want a bagger. He's like, well, go to Suburban. I'm like, well, why? Because they're like way across town in the middle of nowhere at that time. He's like, they get a lot more used bikes. So I'm there. First day I sell a bike.
Nice.
Weird story about this. I get married. My in-laws are the people I sold the bike to.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 96. I can't believe I remember this shit. It's a 96 Electric Glide Classic red. And it was 3 G's more than a new one. And they were happy as hell to buy it.
Because it was available.
Because you could get it today. And at that time, Suburban didn't even write their own paper. I'll just take it to the bank.
Really?
Yeah, dude. There was no finance. There was no, well, Gap was a joke because the value of these things. And I'm like, and I'll never forget, there's a guy named Russ Maycock. If you looked up what Harley riders should look like, this was Russ. And he was a mentor to me. And I remember sitting there, and this is like, I think I started in October. And I'm like, I don't get it. I said, why are people losing their minds over Harleys? These are tractor engines, you know, ancient technology, and I've kept this for my whole life. And this, I think, is transferred to today. He's like, where else can you go in and buy a 57 Chevy off the floor? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you buy the bike, and that's the canvas. Everything else is different. And that has just stuck, again, 33, 34 years of doing this. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So, like, you guys are a prime example in your generation, and obviously I've seen the trends from, hey, holy shit, we could fit a 180 tire on the back of a Softail, to everybody running a Kenny Boyce FXR, then obviously the big wheel. I remember the first time I saw a 21-inch wheel on a bagger, I was like, oh my God, how did you do that?
Yeah.
His name is Jesse Sawyer. We call him Black Jesse because his name is Jesse. He's black.
Yeah.
And yeah, 21, and he had speakers in the back, and he took 5-inch headlights and mounted. I'm like, what are you talking about? To now, you know, whatever they're running, 33 inches and
47s.
Yeah, exactly. And
however tall you are.
Yeah, pretty much.
I sort of joke because back in 2021, I was running an inverted fork on a FXR.
Yeah.
Now, because there was a company called Stores back then that you would buy all this stuff. And so everything comes in circles. But, you know, the biggest thing, going back to the original question, is what is different? Obviously, it's a lot more commercialized. It's so much more mainstream. Now that you can finance something for the rest of your life, it's available. I guess what's different for me, it's sort of shocking, and obviously for the business I'm in, it's nice to see people in their 20s and 30s buying 50G bikes. Yep. That just never happened, right? And how wide the market is. Before there wasn't. You went into the Harley catalog, back then drag wasn't even that big. It was CCI. Oh, well, I am dating myself now. Or I remember just the date before Jesse James was on TV.
Yeah.
I got a set of Hellbents. Well, see if your podcasters, what kind of historians they are. I found out about West Coast Choppers in Motorcyclist magazine. They did an article on Jesse James. So here you got basically a metric thing, and they did it on Jesse James. I was like, that's cool. And I was running a Thunderheader like everybody. I wanted something different. Mm-hmm. And I called West Coast Choppers at Suburban. I said, I want a set of pipes. And they're like, really? I'm like, well, yeah, what do you mean, really? They're like, hold on. And they put somebody else on the phone. I think it was Jesse. And they're like, you want a set of pipes? I'm like, yeah, I want a set of Hellbents. Well, do you mind paying for them up front? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 6 weeks later, the pipes show up in a box. I'm talking like a box of swag. Like all my boys had West Coast everything.
Yeah.
I still actually have the jacket, except for it's got a hole in it because I left a dog treat and my Rottweiler got to it. But yeah, it was just a different world. You go out to Sturgis, they did the camel bike builds, and people. I learned about this reading magazines, Easy Rider, Hot Bike, In the Wind.
You know what's cool
that's
about
a bit
that?
Of a different thing.
Is my boy Sagan. He's 25 years old, and it put a little tear in my eye because I found he has a subscription to Easy Rider. I was like,
I even know they're still printing it.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Cool.
I was like, that's the kind of book that my dad had,
Right.
And I'd read them. I didn't know like kids these days were still getting it.
That's how you, again, pre-internet, there was no way, as a 25-year-old, 26-year-old, because you weren't accepted by anyone. Mm-hmm. There was really the outlaw culture, there. Yeah. And it just wasn't, it was so scattered. Like, I living in Milwaukee I remember the 85th anniversary. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
The 90th, it got crazy. Then the 95th, it was bonkers. And then the 100th as a whole. But, you see it ramp up. And for good or for bad, Harley got a lot more organized. The stories I could tell you, the guys I used to sell to factory employees, and the stories they would tell you about the AMF days. And
sure.
It was nuts.
Yeah.
Man, I remember going to Juneau and seeing complete motorcycles in the garbage. And I'd be like, they used to have a program where you used to buy company-owned vehicles. I don't know if they had that when you sold bikes. Mm-mm. You could bid on them. Like, we bought the whole Buell demo fleet. We bought, like, 250 Buells. It was crazy. But I went to Juneau to do something, and they had Ducati 916 sitting in the garbage. I'm like, can I have that? They're like, no, we're crushing it.
Wait, really? It was in the garbage?
Dude, 100%. I was on the loading dock, loading a bike. There's a Ducati 916 and, like, a Dyna sitting in the garbage bin. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, we throw them away. That's what we do. But that's normal for manufacturers. But, me being Midwest and, at that time, living way beyond my means, I'm like, I'll take the 916. I can make a couple bucks off of that. So
Sure.
You have to wonder, where do all these bikes and cars go that never get sold?
Crushed.
Get that money out of the...
Yeah.
God,
it's all R&D,
waste,
man.
dude.
It's all R&D.
My dad was at GM. My family all worked at GM growing up in Roanoke, Indiana, where one of the plants are. And if there was a scratch, instead of fixing it to paint it, they'd scrap it.
Harley used to have a thing where dealers could buy warranty parts. Because back then there were so few bikes, and Softails were just hot. Dealers would build Softails and sell them as new bikes. Paco frames. Harley had an engine program at that time. You could buy all the Harley parts. They would sell paint sets that, like you said, had a scratch that somebody warranted. And you just that's how home built stuff started.
Yeah,
and they got titled as home builts and
Paco frames.
Wow.
Dude, I love seeing the culture nowadays. After this event that we went to yesterday, the Performance Hangover show. Mm-hmm. You just see so many younger dudes now rolling in on Dynas that they're building themselves in their garage, whatever. Not brand new stuff showing up, but these kids are really getting into it. And, everyone's like, oh, once all the baby boomers go and whatever, Harley's going to be nothing. But there's a whole culture of younger dudes that are coming up in this.
Yeah, I hope and pray that is, for, again, somebody in their 50s who's still doing this, you worry about that. It's like, what's the legacy of this? Mm-hmm. And for me, like when all the performance stuff kicked off, I was like, okay, this makes sense because why my generation who grew up on the Hurricanes and the Ninjas, for me, it made inverted stuff that stops and goes fast. That's what we grew up on. And to see the guys, like I said, 20s, 30s doing that. And again, we were joking earlier about, Dynas and stuff like that. Not everybody could spend 40 G's on a bike, but you can buy a Dyna right now on Marketplace for 5 G's. And for another 5 G's, you can make it badass.
Yeah, for sure.
You could do legend suspension. You could do trick bars. You could do a trick headlight. You could do all that stuff. Yeah. And 10 grand, you're not. The other thing, you're not married to a loan for the next 5 years. Right. And like you said, you go burn a tire off. My generation was different to where we could cruise cars and shit like that. They've outlawed all that.
Yeah.
And I think, the culture. And it seems very inviting. Again, I've been doing this for a long time, so I get to shake hands and kiss a lot of babies and all that bullshit. But for you guys, and what I see is the culture, especially Nick, I'll use you for example, when you met Stephanie.
Yeah.
You guys knew each other through social media, and it's just a whole different world. And you can, network, and for the most, you're going to get some douchebags.
Always will.
And God knows there's plenty of those. But I think people that are true to their heart, you can find out real quick, that aren't looking at you because you're a dollar sign, that say, hey, I appreciate what you can bring, appreciate other people's style. I like when shit is different. I'm jaded. It takes a lot for me to see a bike that I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
But your generation is way more innovative than mine. We just, there's a lot more stuff out there. And it's cool, the whole entrepreneurial side, like, what you guys are doing right now. You were basically in a dealer, or you worked for a factory Harley. That was it. Maybe you'd go on the road with drag as a salesperson, or maybe you'd catch on, as a vendor rep for like Vance and Hines or something like that. Obviously now it's a whole different world. And even that is different because dealerships aren't what they used to be. Right. That used to be a safe haven, when it was probably different when you sold bikes. And I'll tell you a funny story. So, Jeff Bluestein was the president of Harley a million years ago, and I sold his bike for him because blah, blah, blah. He comes in, and I have a West Coast Chopper shirt on, same bag of swag I got. So this is 98, 99. And he says to me, sign his paperwork, Jeff, need your title, here's your check, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, don't you think you should have a Harley shirt on? I'm like, I don't work for Harley. He's like, what do you mean? You're in a Harley dealership. I said, I work for Wayne Haupt. And he did not like that. I went a year and a half, and I wouldn't wear anything that said Harley.
Yeah.
When I got...
Damn the man.
Wow, I was an asshole. So, and when I got when I got hired by Drag, Jim Matchett, for people who have been doing this for a long time, he's like one of the godfathers of Drag, who was my best friend. And at the time, he was just getting to know me. Literally, when he met me, we were doing an event at Suburban. I had Jordan shorts on, flip-flops, and a Dwayne Wade jersey on. And he's like, are you Rob? I'm like, I am. And he's like, he's like, his first thing he said, and I love him, he's like, you're going to come work for me? I'm like, all right, man. And I would sell bikes like that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was a different time.
You're a kid, dude. You do like basketball.
I do. I love playing football, but, yeah, too old for that.
Basketball wasn't my sport. I got...
Dude, you're 5'1". No shit.
I'm 5'6.5", motherfucker.
6'3".
They don't have running backs in basketball.
Literally.
Right.
No, literally, the coach for my elementary team was my friend's dad. And there was no
favoritism.
No, it's the opposite. There was no tryouts, but somehow I got kicked. And I knew from that point I'm done. I'm not playing that anymore.
Well, that's funny. So,
no, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
You worked for Drag, obviously.
I did for 14 years.
14 years.
Yes.
Tell us
for the viewers, that's Drag Specialties.
Drag Specialties.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. We went into
largest.
that.
Okay, Drag Specialties, largest V-twin distribution parts company. So every dealer that's a legit dealer is generally speaking, a Drag Specialties.
So most of the time when someone orders a part and it's aftermarket, it's coming from Drag. Usually.
Generally speaking, yeah. If you're ordering custom, like we're exclusively distributed through Drag Specialties. Your tires most likely are coming through Drag. So when you walk into your local shop, whether it's Harley or whomever shop it is, generally speaking, they're going to the Drag catalog and they're looking up part number and ordering it. Yeah.
I know we talked before about you talking about first time you rode a motorcycle. When is the first time you rode a motorcycle? How was that?
So So my mother was not born in this country. She was born in Kyiv. And my grandpa had a hobby farm in northern Wisconsin, had a little mini bike up there. I was 6 years old. And riding around the farm, there's a little apple orchard, revving, and something happened. I'm 6, I don't remember it. So picture this, me, grandpa, big dude, big Russian guy with hands like, and barely spoke any English, and loved to drink whiskey, though. So if you can think about his voice.
Oh, Russian that drinks whiskey?
I know, that's so weird, right? And there's my mom laying out on a lawn chair. So my mom back then looked like Lonnie Anderson, if you don't know who that is. Do you ever see WKRP in Cincinnati? God, I'm old. Look, she was married to Burt Reynolds. But anyways.
Okay.
And then
I know who that is.
Yeah.
So my grandpa had a 77 F-250 quad cab pickup truck.
Big boy.
So he comes over, Grandpa, it's not moving. I can't understand what he's saying. And I'm revving it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what he did. I think probably a clutch cable just popped out and he popped it back in because it was like there's a Yamaha that had yellow fenders, so it's probably like a YZ80, something like that. And I just whiskey throw. I was wide open, full Superman, run over Mom, because it's just wide open. There's the truck. Couldn't tell you to this day how I laid it down, slid under the truck, perfectly fine. Get up, start crying like a fucking 3-year-old, right? Because and that was how and then I'm never gonna ride motorcycles again, blah blah blah. 15 minutes later I'm riding.
Yeah.
But my whole dad's side of the family, they all rode small, like they're like the Beatles of bikes. Like my dad had like a KZ 300, and my uncle had like a Triumph, and
He has a Grom.
I just picked a Grom up.
pretty similar to that, but with full size rims on it.
Yeah.
I just always loved motorcycles, cars, motorcycles. I was a Matchbox kid, and then I rode my first Harley, which was what were they called, Aramicis, whatever the hell, Italian pieces of junk.
I'm not sure.
So Harley used to import bikes from Italy. My buddy Scott lived in a cemetery. True story. Cavalry Cemetery. His dad was the caretaker of the cemetery, and we used Miller beer. Fred Miller is buried there, so we used to drink and party at Fred Miller's grave because we thought that was cool. And he had this Harley 2-stroke, and that was the first Harley I rode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember growing up. I'm like, it's probably like any kid.
I want to know more about this guy that lives in the cemetery.
Scott. Yeah.
He lived in like a grave or?
No. They had it was like a castle house. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
What are those called? The ones that you can
Mausoleums?
Walk
Mausoleum.
Yeah,
Do you live in one of those?
Dude, this cemetery is like it's right by. So if you go to Milwaukee, it's right by the stadium.
There's like a direct TV satellite on top of it.
Right. Yeah, that was back when you had to flip back and forth to see a boob.
Yeah.
That was back to that. So yeah.
Get the antennas all right.
Absolutely. Tinfoil on your head, all that shit. So.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
So how does Bike Week play into Custom Dynamics sales and things like that?
So we do rallies, and this is a question that's brought up because we are not a rally company. We are a manufacturer of LED lights, and we're doing hard parts. And what rallies do for us is, number one, it connects us with our customer. So, for example, last year Harley changed the Softails. So we went to rally, we're like, oh my God, our stuff doesn't work. We have to go home and buy a Softail. So a lot of R&D. I have, a third of my design team. That's who does the installs. We don't have hired guns. These are guys that they do this for a living. They design our lights. So for us, it's advertising. That's first and foremost, and then marketing, and then R&D. Obviously, it's great to connect with people too because we come out with new product all the time. I always say this, we do not chase trends. That is not what we do, but we do take feedback from guys like yourselves, from other people. Can you guys do this? Can we do that? We find out what's not working in the market. TSM, when we developed the TSM, when Harley discontinued it, was a direct result of doing shows because people are like, I can't get my Dyna to run. Well, what's wrong with it? Well, TSM's out of it. Maybe we could do that. 2 years later and $1 bazillion, we have it all sounds really great in the bubble, but
you guys are like on the cutting edge of being trendsetters with those taillights that you showed us that aren't even out yet. You only have 2 sets. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Well, yeah. So, it's no different. So we find out we don't do a whole lot of rallies. So right now, I think for this year, we have scheduled like 4 rallies. Now that comes and goes. We'll do events. But we found out that with our fillers, which we sell a ton of, people have to remove their, whatever Harley's calling, basically the framework of their taillight. And they didn't want to do that because they wanted side light. So we started developing a taillight to fill into those pods that'll be out in June. And that's a direct result of rallies. Obviously, Drag has their reps. They have 46 reps. We hear from them too. But a lot of it comes from the end user. We showed some stuff down here that's prototypes, which I don't want to talk about, but you'll see shortly. And all that comes from talking. Otherwise, like I said, Custom Dynamics is we're a big player in this industry, but there's only 29 people that work at Custom Dynamics.
Really?
Yes. And everything's developed in-house.
Wow.
So Dave, our founder and president, electrical engineer, literally, this is actually sort of an interesting story, started Custom Dynamics in his attic. He had a job. He worked at IBM. Then he worked at Philips. He's an electrical engineer by trade. And he bought somebody's pod lights and didn't like them. And I could do this better. Next thing you know, he's working out of a trailer, blah, blah, blah. Very humble beginnings. And 23 years later, built arguably the best, if not, I don't think it's arguably, maybe I'm biased, but the best aftermarket lighting company in the industry.
Dude, I have to agree, man.
Yeah.
So
just got a whole set on the front of my Dyna Lowrider ST.
Looks good too, dude. Yeah.
One, we appreciate that. And, we do things specific. Ours are always DOT. Yeah. And we do some things that maybe aren't sexy. That's why I said we don't chase trends, but we try to do things for a long haul. Yeah. And the biggest thing is our reputation, that it works, and if it doesn't work, we fix it. Yeah. So
lifetime warranty,
yeah. Customer service. I can't give the people back in the office enough credit because they really carry us. Yeah. What I do is easy compared to what they do. Yeah. So,
I've got nothing but positive feedback on the Shark Demon, and also those integrated turn signals in my vents, and then also the smaller turn signals. What's the name of those?
Which ones do you got? I don't even know. You got the Shark Demon turn signals? Yeah. So it's funny, Is
that what they're called? Just Shark
Demon turn signals. So Dave was the first one that had white to amber. Obviously those have been knocked off 100 times, and I guess that's the greatest form of flattery. But, and obviously you want different style and things of that nature. So that's how I'll tell you what. And, we're trying to figure out right now, how long is that style of Shark Demon going to last? Sure. Because it might not last. It could last 5 more years. It could last 2 more years. So what's next?
Hey guys, real quick. This episode is brought to you by Rider Rot Merchandise Store. If you want to support the show, grab your Live Life Dangerously gear at www.inktrendsprintco.com.
You need a beer, Nick? Yeah, might as well.
So this is me on my... And riding motorcycles... I will tell you this, if there is better therapy out there than riding motorcycles, I would love to find it. I'm fortunate. I've got a few cars. I got a side-by-side, but nothing zens me out like hopping on my bike. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, I never have the stereo on. I just listen to my engine through my helmet, act like an idiot, and just, like even cruising here today, we've been super busy all week and super grateful for that, but it was like a chance just to shut my brain off. Not, So how some people go to church, I think a lot of us experience that. You don't have to have your hair on fire every time you get on your bike.
I do.
No, he's crazy. No, you're 100% right though. Like it's just something that kind of calms my soul, and I can breathe. All the noises go away, and I'm just like, I'm in it.
Yeah. Neither of you guys have ever ridden a unicycle.
No.
That's what calms my soul.
A unicycle?
when you can finally do it without falling off.
Yeah, you got it made.
Good time.
Unicycle, all right.
Do you think those dudes were like as cool as the guys that are popping wheelies on Harleys back then? Because they're on one wheel and the chicks are like, yo, he's on one wheel.
Back then, so like my father-in-law, true story, my father-in-law was a chopper rider, panhead chopper, no front brake. Mm-hmm. my wife was cruising around and saw, my mother-in-law on a king queen seat, no suspension back. They didn't. Yeah. Those guys were so much more hardcore than we were.
Oh yeah.
No front brake in the rain, jockey shifting on 17 freaking Michelobes or whatever they were drinking.
But back then their bikes only went 35 miles an hour.
Right, but the problem is they were spitting out oil all 35. Because they had oilers on them. Yeah. No, but helmets. I'll tell you, true story. I didn't start wearing a helmet until like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just.
What's your preferred helmet?
I run an Icon now. I've got like 11 helmets.
Are any of them a Simpson?
I had one, gave it away. I gave it away.
Call me next time you have one you want to give it away.
Yeah, it was a Ghost Carbon.
Yeah.
I actually gave it to Jimmy at HPI for one of his dudes. I wore it once. It wasn't my cup of tea. I got one of my guys that will beat me to death about how great Simpson is. From race car days, that was the stuff.
Yep.
Dale Earnhardt wore a Simpson, just so you guys know.
Circle
God
check.
rest his soul.
Praise hell, praise Dale.
Dale Earnhardt isn't with us.
He's here in
spirit.
Maybe you've had an impact.
He's here in spirit.
An impact, yes.
The helmet game, like.
That was dirty, bro.
Sorry for all your NASCAR guys. But yeah, the helmet game is interesting. I run an Icon. Off-road, I run an Alpine Star. They make a killer helmet. Yeah. My buddy owns Biltwell. So, obviously they took the old Bell, whatever that was, and brought that into vogue. And then Simpson, of course, took it to a whole different level. Mm-hmm. But helmets are, they're sort of like motorcycles. People will fight you to the death over the helmet,
That's how I am, dude. Yeah.
Simpson, they make you taller, but hey, man, as long as
you come out with a motorcycle that flies, and I'll still ride a Harley.
Well, that's so we talked, earlier about the difference. That's sort of cool to hear for me because let's just be honest. If people, and that's my fear, right? And the iPhone generation, the podcast generation, that people are going to be like, oh, the Harley technology sucks, and I want something that's like my Tesla. Well, we're all screwed then because let's be honest, these are basically garden tractors on two wheels, and everybody. I'm waiting for the return of the carburetor. Jimmy at HPI is probably going to punch me when he sees me this, but
we'll tag him.
I remember when the big debate was, drilling out your CV car, we're going to a Mikuni, and Mikuni's, you didn't have to touch it. Obviously, fuel injection is a lot better now, but yeah, for me, that's super comforting to hear because again. Going back to the whole 57 Chevy reference, you can take these things and make them your own, especially the older bikes.
Sure.
Obviously the newer stuff, Harley's got all the technology, which is no different than our cars and trucks we drive. I hop in my AT4 and I'm like, okay, dash is killer. How long is this going to last? Yeah. I hop in my C10. Mm-hmm. It's been going since 67. It's not going to break now. So
yeah, 67 C10?
Yes, sir.
You got some toys, dude.
Yeah, I got a 67 with the LS, and I got a 58 Pro Street truck. And
oh, yeah, dude.
I never had kids, so I have a lot of cars. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. My wife still got her R6 that she polished the frame on.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah.
That's
hasn't
cool.
seen daylight in forever, but...
we got to get that thing out.
I almost bought a bad boy this week.
Did you?
My first Harley was a bad boy. Dude. And I want a Springer again.
Yeah.
Baggers are, my bike's great. It's a dinosaur, but it's super fast and all that stuff. But I sort of miss not having. We're talking making fun of cell phones. Back then, the cell phone you bought was based on what you rode. We didn't have saddlebags. You can't go to the bar if it doesn't fit in my pocket. I can't take it. So that's why I rolled with the first Razor. Yeah. That one took pictures.
Right.
And almost like a quarter megapixel. I'd take a picture of you.
I still remember that commercial.
It's like a crayon.
The thing is just like rotating on the commercial.
Oh, dude, it was so sexy.
Oh, my God, it's so thin.
It was so sexy.
Oh, yeah. It was a thing, man.
Yeah.
They came back out.
Dude, and I could text like this. You're just...
Yeah.
There's no keyboard. Because you had to hit, like, to get C, you had to hit... Of course, with the rollerball, absolutely.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Dude, none of us thought at that time. I remember my buddy got an iPhone, and I'm like, what is that? Because I had all my music in an iPod, not thinking, the evil geniuses that Apple are. He's like, yeah, you just transferred. That's actually the reason I got an iPhone was to transfer my music.
Yeah.
That was it. And who knew that we could power a space shuttle with our phones?
I remember the first time that I came across Amazon, like movies and stuff.
Right.
And my friend, he's like, oh yeah, I can go ahead and watch a movie on here. And I was like, wait, these are all yours? He's like, yeah, I bought them. And I think they're saved on your TV. Like, aren't they going to go away like someday or whatever?
I remember,
Pirate Bay?
people on their first iPods. What was the one with the Max that had the screen you could watch movies? It was this big.
Yeah.
My
I know what you're
buddy's
talking
like got porn on it. He's like, check this out.
about. And you're like, what is that? A boob or a dick?
Right,
I
I
can't
was
tell.
Yeah, but
It doesn't matter.
So yeah, I hope for your generation, again, I'm sounding like a dinosaur, but stuff like this influences people, real people, not, hey, I'm getting paid by this corporation or this sponsor to talk about this. And there's nothing more phony than you see it all the time. And you know what? If you love Shark Demon today and all of a sudden 3 years from now something else comes out and kicks its ass, hey, great. You know what? We did our job for that period of time. We got to get better.
All right, guys, this has been another great episode of Ride or Rot. Be sure to subscribe, follow us on all the socials. Nick, what do you got?
Thank you, Rob, for coming out. For real, dude.
Hey, my pleasure.
This is cool.
It's good catching up with you all.
Yeah, I know you got a lot going on, and you're the guy in the industry that, honestly, everyone I've talked to have nothing but good things to say about you. And for a small industry, that's huge.
I pay a lot of people off.
Hey,
so.
there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I got some cash for you after this.
No, I appreciate it because, reputation in life is everything. So
Sure.
I appreciate that.
Definitely,
Thank you.
definitely. Been a mentor for me. I've called him in the middle of the day when I'm freaking out about something going on in my brain about this industry. And he's always been able to calm me down and point me in the right direction. So just want to thank you for that, dude. If you guys have any questions, make sure you throw them in the comments below. Make sure you check out Custom Dynamics too. I'm telling you, lifetime warranty. I think I've rode my past 3 bikes have only been Custom Dynamic lighting, and I've
we
never had an
appreciate
issue.
it.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
And we make cool koozies.
Yeah,
come
check
to
out the
events.
koozies.
Absolutely.
Check them out.
Get yourself a Shark Demon headlight.
Yes. Shark Demon everything.
Yeah, literally.
Check out inktransprintco.com and get yourself some Ride or Rot merch.
I'll edit that out. All right, guys. Thank you. Make sure you come back next Thursday. What time?
7:37?
7 p.m.
7:37. That'd be a killer start time.
7 p.m.
Yep. Next week, 7.
Eastern time zone.
Eastern time zone. All right, guys. Peace.
Later.